Hi everybody, welcome back to my next video. If you were watching the last video, you would know that, of course, I am now shooting this video. This is actually a Christmas display in the local area. This house used to have a lot more on it. Like, there used to be a Santa on the roof and stuff. I guess the people that live here have gotten older and everything. There's like the chipmunks singing, you know, and the nativity scene and nutcrackers and blah blah blah. Here, of course, in this video, as I mentioned in the last video, this video here is going to be about the bad restaurants that Tony and I think for 2010. Of course, in the last video, as you should remember, we did a video of the good or the great restaurants of 2010. This video, of course, is of the bad ones, as I mentioned before. You know, so fair warning, Richard. You know, it's going to be another long one. So if you complain to me later, I'm going to laugh at you because you were warned up front. Okay. But anyway, with that said, you know, I want to, you know, do my bad restaurant review for 2010. And, of course, like with the other restaurant review where we were talking about the good ones, these are in random order, okay? I mean, these are 10 of the worst restaurants. Tony and I are in agreement on that these places, in other words, stink for various reasons. And like in the last review, like I'll talk about, like, you know, what, like I talked in the last video, that's what I'm trying to say, but what was good about those 10 restaurants. I want to talk about what the problem is with these restaurants here. They're also in no particular order, although the top two, it's pretty interchangeable between those two, and then the rest of them kind of fall in line behind them, okay? Now, the first two restaurants are next door to each other. I'm going to start with saying that up front. The number one restaurant is the McDonald's in Wilder. Problem that we have with them is, for example, they're horribly slow to provide service even when they're slow, aka not busy. Okay? The problem gets even worse when they're busy during what's called peak, quote-unquote, peak hours for food. Like, you know, breakfast, you know, like I'd say probably around 7 a.m.-ish. Lunch, you know, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. or, you know, like 5 to 8. Okay, the restaurant is also notorious, as I've mentioned previously, in a video that I've since deleted, and I think I put one back up about it, where I talked about these people are so bad that, like, if you show up, like, for breakfast right about the cutoff time for it, like, you know, I'd say 5 to 10 minutes before the cutoff for breakfast is, you know, even if you're going through the drive-thru, they're so bad, they'll make you wait before the cutoff time for breakfast is left. Then they'll refuse to sell you breakfast. I've had this done to me a number of times because, like, I've, for example, walked off and forgot to grab, like, my cereal bars back when I was working in the building at my job. I, of course, telecommute, for those of you that don't know. Which, this, of course, is stupid. Because, you know, why? You know that, okay, and the signs are posted, okay, that, for example, breakfast is served until 10:30 in the morning, Monday through Saturday. Every Monday through Saturday. Then on Sundays and holidays, the breakfast is served until 11 a.m. Of course, this is posted on their signs, hello, duh, and they're bad for it. Now, they've started serving breakfast and lunch clear up until the cutoff time for breakfast. That's even more bizarre, but it's better than, you know, telling you to basically go F yourself, you know, when the cutoff, like when it's close to the cutoff time. I mean, because they've basically said that to me without saying it, if you know what I mean. I mean, and it's just, I try to not go to this Wilder McDonald's if I can help it. I mean, like, I'll go there and eat, like, if I'm, like, starved or, like, desperate, you know, like I mentioned before, like, I walked off and forgot my breakfast, for example. You know, or, like, you know, there's no food in the house or something, you know, and like I'm hard up to get something to eat. Number 2 is next door to this McDonald's. And it's the Waffle House there in Wilder. A couple of problems we had with that place is it used to be no smoking, but they went back to allowing customers because they were quote unquote, you know, losing business because they wouldn't allow people to smoke in there. Please, come on. Those truckers that like to smoke in their trucks or smoke everywhere, you know, they can just learn either quit smoking or smoke out in their trucks or smoke outside or something. They'll get over it. You know, the other problem I have is those booths are uncomfortable. I mean, you know, I'm not that fat, but you know, I mean, I'm also not exactly a skinny person either. It's just like they're hard, and it's like it's all scrunched up, and I'm like, hello, y'all could have, you know, made this restaurant a wee bit bigger and made these booths a little bit larger. Thank you. But my main beef with Waffle House is that smoking thing. Because, you know, I don't smoke, and I don't feel that I should be subjected to breathing the smoke that is coming from other people's cigarettes, you know. Of course, my personal favorite with the Waffle House here in Wilder is come April 2011, Campbell County, where that Waffle House is going to a non-smoking ban in the county. So this Waffle House will either have to go A, out of business, or B, finally go completely no smoking. And if the truckers whine, you know, that's what they get for coming in this county, basically. Which I am just you know, very happy about that. Thank you. You know, I think that's absolutely just hysterical. And these pictures, by the way, that you're looking at, they're from Union Terminal. So, because I don't really have any photos of like Waffle House or, you know, McDonald's or anything. I'm not exactly a big fan of either one of them. There's some other, you know, Union Terminal photos here that you'll be seeing. Okay, number 3. This one I've shot a couple of videos on, and one of them, and I think this, and this is an update too on this one for number 3. My video that I complain about this restaurant in is still getting a lot of views. And keep it up, people. I don't care. It's created a great discussion. It's, of course, the Cheddar's out here in Florence. You know, I cut a rant back in May of this year, if I'm remembering right. It was before my birthday, so I'm thinking it was May or June, quite possibly. I might be wrong, but it was warm weather around Mother's Day. Well, you know, what happened is I, of course, did an update video when I said, you know, hey, I'm going to, you know, let you guys know if I ever get the comments. I never got them, by the way. Never did. And, you know, that was beef with, you know, them. This is why they've made this list. You know, because, you know, if you've seen the video in question, you'll know what my problem was with them. You know, I'm not going to rehash it here. You know, so, like, you know, if you ever, you know, are in customer service, because I do customer service all day long, thank you. You know, if you tell a customer that you're going to do X, Y, and Z, as Nike says, do it, okay? Duh, okay? The manager that called me after I complained to corporate never sent me the comps. Not that I care, not that I want free food. I would have given the comps to my mother-in-law anyway. But, you know, my opinion is I would have, if it had been me and I'd been the manager and I'd gotten a complaint like that from a customer that complained through corporate, you know, I would have made good and sent the thing anyway. Even if they shot a video saying, hey, look, I'm never going to eat there again. You don't know. They might go eat at another Cheddar's, you know. But seriously, it talks about complete, you know, lack of follow-through on there. You know, it like I said, you know, if you tell somebody you're going to do something, do it, okay? I mean, that just shows you that they're not worth even eating at, okay? You know, that just, you know, leaves something to be desired about them. I mean, really, no joke. Even Tony says he'll never go back there and eat. we're in agreement about that. That one is definitely a number 3. Cheddar's is. Let's see, the next restaurant, number 4, is the Skyline Chili in Highland Heights. Unlike Dixie Chili, where the service rocks, that was on our good list. The Skyline over here in Highland Heights, which is the next town over, if you ever heard the phrase asleep behind the wheel, this pretty accurately describes the Skyline Chili restaurant here in Highland Heights. Tony and I went there yesterday on Sunday, and I'll tell you what, our waitress was so inattentive. It took her a half an hour, it took a half an hour for us to get a refill, and we're sitting there eating and we're getting thirsty. I finally had to, when another waitress walked past, I had to say to her, excuse me, can I get a refill? Even Tony wanted a refill. We're both sitting there thirsty, Our waitress, and Tony could see her, the Skyline Chili in Highland Heights, incidentally, is not a very large facility. Tony could see the waitress fooling around over by the drive-through window, which is on the other side of the building. He said, she's over there messing around with her friends. I did not tip her yesterday, just for the record, so, if it ends up on my, account where it ends up being a larger amount than what it was, I want to call, where I got my card from and protest it, so. But, this is a reason why we don't leave tips for the wait staff, is inattentiveness. If you're not paying attention to us, if you notice, if you hear us loudly slurping from our glasses, which that restaurant was not packed, by the way. A deaf person could have heard us slurping, okay? This is, reasons why we don't tip. It's if you're not, doing your job, what does that tell us about you? That's what I'm trying to say. Seriously. That's pretty bad, that leaves something to be desired, that girl needs to be told, look, when you have tables and you're here and you're working, act like you want to get tipped, because, let's face it, here in Kentucky, the minimum wage, I think, is for waitresses is $2 and something, but, they're supposed to make that up in tips. Well, and if they don't make it up in tips, the restaurant has to, bring them up to whatever the minimum wages are, something like that, some ludicrous amount. But, I am a firm believer in outcome-based tipping. If the outcome of my experience with you left something to be desired, guess what? You're going to get left with something that you desired, a tip. It's called you're not getting one. Seriously. If you did a good enough job, I'll leave you a tip. For example, at the Hoffer House, we left a pretty good tip for that waitress. Because she did a really good job. For example. And that's why they're on the good list. The Skyline Chili yesterday left, something to be desired, to be honest. Okay, well, here's another local chained restaurant. The La Rosa's. There's a La Rosa's out here in Alexandria. I tell you what, year-round that place is a freaking meat locker. It's cold all year round. The windows are very poorly insulated. So, excuse me, if you sit there, by the windows, right about now where it's pretty frigid outside, I think the low tonight is going to be 16 degrees, by the way. You can feel the air coming in from outside. And then during the summer, they keep the inside of the restaurant where the customers sit colder than snot. I'm serious. It's just, it has no meaning to the word frigid, okay? It is cold in that restaurant all year. All year. You'll be lucky to get the heat cranked in the winter. You're going, okay, could you go turn the heat up? I'm cold. I've gotten within inches of, jumping up and actually running over to the thermostat, cranking it in there in the winter. Seriously, it's that bad. What is it with them that they need to keep it so cold in there all the winter. I mean, granted, I know it might get hot in the kitchen, but you gotta think about the people out in the restaurant. You know, hello, you're freezing us to death. Tony's personal pet peeve is number 6 on here. It's the Ponderosa in Newport. Just like Waffle House in the number 2 position, this place, Ponderosa, is smoke central. The last time that Tony and I ate there, we were sitting in the non-smoking section, but as far away from the smoking section that we could physically get ourselves and the rest of our party that was with us that night. But the last, we may as well have been sitting in the smoking section anyway, because the smoking was wafting all the way down through the no smoking section, out of the smoking section, and all the way down to where we were sitting. I mean, it was that bad. I mean, it tells you something when you are sitting in the non-smoking section about as far away as you can physically get from the smoking section, but you feel like you're sitting in the smoking section, even though you don't want to. I mean, seriously. And that tells you something right there. I mean, they have very bad ventilation in there, for one thing. And their food's okay. I mean, it's not, you know, something that I would eat unless, you know, I was desperate or, you know, somebody was like, oh, let's try this. Are you sure? I've also had something strange happen to me out in the parking lot of Ponderosa. One time I was there several years ago with my mom, and I've heard of these scams, you know, like insurance scams, like vehicle insurance scams, where, like, you know, there's like these guys that, like, you know, try to cause you to get into a car accident, so that way they can, you know, cheat, you know, their insurance and your insurance. Well, he stopped, like, you know, blocking the driveway to lead out, and I pulled up with my mom in the passenger seat in my car, and he's like, oh, you know, go around me, my car won't start. And I said, no. I could tell that he was faking it, you know, and I said, no, I'm going to sit here until you move. That's what I said to him. And I was like, I'm not moving. And he's like, no, seriously, go around. And it's just, I could tell from his demeanor that he was trying to pull a fast one on me. And I'm like thinking, dude, I might be a girl, but I'm not stupid. You know, I could see right through him. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'd been around the block enough times to where I was like thinking, dude, what do you take me for, an idiot? I just looked at him and said, no, you can go, you know, I'll go. You know, I came with it, like, I pulled out my cell phone and I said, oh, you know what, okay, if you're having car trouble, let me call you AAA, or let me call the police. I'll be more than happy to have them, you know, help you start your car, move it. I said, you know, and he's like, no, you know, go on and go around me anyway, you know, it'll be fine. I said, no. I looked at my mom and I said, Mom, let's just back up and we'll go back in the building and we'll sit here and wait. You know, I'll go, wherever we're going is not that important. You know, it'll still be there later. And I like shook my head like, agree, Mom, please, you know. And she's like, yeah, you know, we'll just back up and just, you know, wait and blah, blah, blah. The guy's like, okay, I'll move, never mind. And he pulled out and went off. You know, oddly enough, you know, that was, later on I heard about on television about, you know, that, you know, gun and run kind of thing or something where, like, they try to, you know, cause a car accident so they can cheat your insurance and make false claims and everything. And, you know, to this day, that, you know, makes me laugh about Ponderosa. I mean, that tells you how bad it is at that Ponderosa, you know, if crap like that's happening out in the parking lot. You know, okay, now, onward on the list. And, you know, I, you know, want to say that a lot of these restaurants, I mean, they're on here for, like, one reason or another, and, of course, you know, like, I'll say why on each one of them, of course, but it amazes me how some of this stuff actually goes on. I mean, like, with the incident that I mentioned in the Ponderosa parking lot, you know, you have to wonder, you know, why doesn't, you know, something get done about that, you know, but, of course, we'll never know the answer to that one. Number 7, it's Johnny Rockets at Newport on the Levee. You know, granted, Mitchell's Fish Market is good, but there's other restaurants there that, you know, leave something to be desired, like at Ponderosa. Here's the problem with Johnny Rockets. Cramped seats like Waffle House, and smoky conditions awful like Waffle House. And even for a skinny person, it's not all that comfortable in there. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's like I've seen a couple of skinny people sit in those booths before, and they had a horrible time getting up out of them booths. I mean, it was like a bunch of tangled up limbs and jackets and people and everything. And I'm like thinking, you know, we don't need to eat in here anymore. And the food isn't all that great either, you know, to be honest with you. I mean, I think I could do a better job cooking here at my house than eat there. Another restaurant down at Newport on the Levee that leaves something to be desired is Clauda's Irish Pub. And like I said, they're at the Levee. The problem here with these folks is the wait staff at Clauda's is extremely pushy. I mean, you have no idea. For example, one time my mom, Tony, and I went in there and ate. Well, Tony and I were going to pay for my mom to eat there. Well, we had just enough money to cover our 3 meals and drinks, plus a tip. The waitress made us feel so bad about not getting a dessert that we went ahead and bought one. Well, she gypped herself out of a tip. I'm serious. Like I said, we only had just enough money to cover our 3 meals, our drinks, and a tip. And she ended up gypping herself out of a tip because of it. You know, it's that bad. And what's even worse is it's smokier in Clauda's Irish Pub than it is in Waffle House and Wilder. I'm serious, and that's saying something. You know, it's just, you know, it's also another one of those badly vented places. Now, here's the last two. Number 9 is Jimmy John's in Highland Heights. It's the easiest way to describe it to you. It's like a Subway. You know, it's a sub place. The problem with this place is it's cramped. You know, like Clauda's or Johnny Rockets, or it's more like Johnny Rockets. And this place also has very, very mediocre food. I could have made myself a better sandwich at home, and you know, I'd rather eat at Subway or Quiznos faster than I would eat at Jimmy John's ever again. It left something to be desired, to be honest with you. Number 10, Tony and I agree on this, just because we know the place really leaves something to be desired. It's the Hong Kong Grand Buffet in Newport. It's a wonder they haven't been closed down for good due to cleanliness standards, because it's nasty in there. I mean, it's not only nasty in the restaurant itself, it's nasty in the bathrooms. And this place also makes, it's like Waffle House and Ponderosa. The place is smoke-filled, and it makes the taste of the food taste wrong, even to a non-smoker. I mean, because it's pretty bad. I mean, it's extremely bad in there. I mean, I wouldn't eat there if I had to. I mean, it's like if I was going to eat at a buffet, I would drive out to Alexandria and go eat at like Tokyo Dragon. Seriously, especially a Chinese one or a Japanese one. Well, anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching both this video of the bad restaurants for 2010 and the previous video, the good ones, the good restaurants of 2010. And I hope that you frequent, if you live in the area, the good restaurants in this area, okay? Or the one in Sevierville, Tennessee, okay? Well, I want to thank you for watching, and have a great, great day. Bye.